Welcome to this special bonus episode of the Passive House podcast. I'm Zach Semke, Director of Passive House Accelerator, and we're pleased to be sharing a series of bonus episodes recorded at the International Passive House Conference 2023 in Wiesbaden, Germany. These interviews were made possible by support from Icon Windows and Doors, Inotech Windows and Doors, Intelligent Membranes, Minitaire, and Proclima. Please enjoy this bonus episode.
Welcome, Micheel Wassouf from Energiehaus Arquitectos, which is based in Barcelona. Your showpass, your home that you retrofitted to Enerfit standards, is featured on the cover of our most recent issue of our magazine.
I'm very proud on that.
But I want to talk about something else. Okay. I mean, it's a wonderful building, and I hope everybody goes and reads about it. But I want to talk about something else, which is your role in certifying quite a few buildings in Spain. I understand you're up to how many by now?
Yeah, we are now more than 200 buildings certified. I'm not now. I don't have the concrete number, but I think it's more than 220 buildings certified since 2015.
That's quite a record. So how do you account for that kind of growth within, I mean, that's 8 years. That's a lot of buildings to do. Can you just explain to us a little bit the growth of Passive House in Spain, how that's come about?
I mean, I think the opportunity in Spain, or maybe the particular condition, is that in Spain there is no alternative building standards based on energy efficiency. So people who are interested really in having such kind of buildings with very low energy consumption and with high technical quality of the building itself have more or less two reference standards. One is the official national building code, and the other is Passive House. So the official building code is, of course, not so developed than the Passive House standard. So therefore, a lot of people who are concerned or who are interested in making constructing a good building goes for the Passive House standard. That is maybe different than, for example, in Germany or in other countries like Italy or France, where you have already alternative, probably not as efficient as the Passive House standard, but there are more standards on the market who claim to be energy efficient, or maybe also standards which are now getting public subventions. Subsidies. Mm-hmm. And in Spain we don't have this situation.
So of those 220 buildings, what percent of those would be single-family houses versus other types?
We have a high percentage of single-family houses in Spain, because we have, of course, two ways in the Passive House path toward the future. One is the particular landowner, developer, and then the public developer, no? So the particular, is it right? Yeah, the non-public developers. Mm-hmm.
Private
developers. They have initiated, I think, in Spain the way to Passive House for the future. So in 10 years ago, maybe they were the first who really started with passive house standard in Spain.
So, so of the ones that are not single-family houses, what other types of buildings?
So we have then, of course, public building developers in certain cities like Pamplona or Zaragoza, also now in Madrid. These initiatives are based on particular persons who are convinced on the benefits of passive house, and so they initiate. They transform or try to transform the local policies for energy efficient buildings.
So have there been like city government buildings, libraries, hospitals? Which type?
Yeah, there are now quite a lot of also public social housings. Yeah. In Pamplona, for example, since I think 2018, there is a local building law which states that you have to build all the public social housings have to be passive house standard, and they explain that. I mean, the justification for that is because of the energy poverty, to
costs.
Yeah, to decrease the effect of energy poverty in social housing. So therefore, I think these intelligent politicians, they have understand that passive house is the right way to mitigate this effect of energy poverty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to provide the greatest social benefit to the occupants.
Yeah. So we have on one hand this private developers who are more like detached family houses, and then on the other hand also some private developers of housings on the private market. For example, in Zaragoza, we have one particular private developer who is only making everything. All his private housing blocks are being certificated with the passive house standard.
And what kind of climate is Zaragoza? Is it?
This is like
north
this is
Spain?
Probably like it's continental. I would not say desertic, but it is very hot and dry in summer and quite cold in winter. Yeah.
And so, what features do you need to pay attention to when you're designing, like for the hot summers that you have? I mean, can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's for some that's a new struggle, a new condition to have to adapt to in these hot summers.
I would say a very detailed and thorough design of the openings of the building, of the design of the architecture of the openings, the windows. Of course, external sunshade elements, movable sunshade elements, and
those sunshade elements, they're almost taken for granted in Spain, right? Like in North America, it's still very hard. It's rare still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I mean it's really mandatory for Spanish climate to have this external sun shading elements, movable
and
sun
so
blinds.
It's fairly easy to find those products.
It's like actually also for not passive houses, I mean, normal houses, they are very common, not in all regions, but in the more continental regions of Spain, they are part of the building culture. There are some other regions like northern Spain where people try to avoid these issues because of saving money, let's say, for the making the construction more simple. But of course, now also with the climate change, we are experiencing problems with housing buildings in northern Spain without exterior sun shading elements.
Yeah.
So this is very important.
And of the buildings that you've done, what's the most unusual building you've had to certify?
That's a good question because of 220. Let's think about that. We are now designing ourselves as architects. Very interesting. We have designed very interesting retrofit of a social housing block in Madrid, which I hope will be under construction in half a year. And there we are going to try to retrofit, very basic public housing from ends of last century, which is actually quite ugly. It's not very attractive. Even would be an idea to substitute it to make a new construction because it doesn't have any
historic value.
Neither historic value, and it has very bad comfort and energy performance. But we convinced the public owner to go for an NFIT certification, and we hope, I think we're going to get not only a passive house or NFIT retrofit, but also really a totally new aesthetic of the building, which upgrades also the urban quality of this building, and it's also a threat because we are going to make the retrofit with the users inside, so that's
big
very
challenges.
challenging, and we have there very critical social neighborhood. So it's also not only a technical challenge, but also social. We work also with social workers to manage, for example, making the blower door test. With it's not so big a block, where it's 12 dwellings, but you have to manage to make the blower door test with the 12 families to organize to open the door. Because you put the ventilator on the ground floor on the main entrance, and then you have to have all the doors open, no?
Right.
It's one of the
all cooperating
protocols
at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time, and then also trying to look for building infiltrations. Meanwhile, the occupants with all the furniture inside the building. So hopefully next year, crossing fingers that we can get an interesting retrofit example.
And have you thought about what you're going to retrofit? Like it's from the exterior?
Yeah. We are insulating from the exterior, of course, and also the air tightness layer would be on the existing mortar screed of the building, which we will restore or renovate. And trying to make it simple, not with too much technology. That's, let's say, our aim. So to use the existing mortar instead of putting a new layer on that. That would be quite challenging also to see how it's going to work.
Are there prefabricated retrofit panels that you can use?
We have thought about that, but we as the building is not the walls are not consistent. They have like parts which are like
curves.
But elements like aesthetic elements which goes to the exterior. So we decided for an on-site solution with wooden frames and with insulated cellulose insulation. Also, we have an engineering team which is auditing the CO2 embodied energy on that, also to learn and to optimize the overall CO2 emissions of the buildings, to understand what is the impact of the operation phase and of the material related CO2 emissions.
As you did with your own retrofit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's logical that once we have control the energy efficiency, that the next step is to go to optimize also the embodied energy of the building materials.
Right.
It's logical.
Well, it's exciting that you're getting the opportunity to do this on a larger building.
Yeah. That's, of course, I suppose in Europe, it's going to be introduced in a lot of countries as one part of the design process of buildings, whether new buildings or retrofits, to analyze the upfront carbon of the materials. Yeah, actually in Germany, it's already part of the subsidies policies in Germany that they demand for this kind of analysis. So that's going to happen also in Spain in the near future, hopefully.
Very exciting.
Yeah, okay.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully in the US also, you can also introduce it on a wide range.
I don't know about wide range, but in certain areas that are more progressive.
Yeah, maybe it's a good strategy also to push it in certain areas as New York or
Boston.
Right. There's a skyscraper, no? Quite some spectacular projects. Yes. I've seen it in Boston.
Yes.
Yeah. And then go
the
for
Winthrop Center. Yes.
And then go for the detached family houses as a second step, hopefully.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Welcome. I appreciate you stopping by.